Sì, io no, guarda, hai bisogno.
Buonasera.
Ciao.
Ciao. Welcome back to Laura's kitchen. I am Mary from Cacciatora, and I'm here with my mother-in-law, Laura. This is our first live cooking demo of the new year of 2021. So we hope you guys are all doing well. So we can just, we always, as usual, we give a little bit of an update on the situation in Italy. So in Tuscany, at least we're considered what's called a yellow zone,
Yes.
gialla.
It's good.
Yeah, so
It's good.
Yellow is a good kind of positive sign. We're hoping that it stays this way. We have a little bit more freedom to go out a little bit. So restaurants are actually open during the day. They do have to close at 6 p.m. And there is still a curfew, but people can go out and actually go have lunches. I mean, there's limits on the number of people per table, so there's a limit of 4. We still have a mask mandate for when you're going out and about, as usual. But I think noi stiamo provando di essere ancora molto.
Sì, yes.
Yeah, so
we have many. Always with the mask, wash the hand, is 1 meter and 50 between the people, no many person.
But we're cautiously
Is it possible
optimistic
to
that
go in other region?
yeah, we can't. You're not allowed to change regions. So we're in Tuscany and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. But I think we're trying to be cautiously optimistic, kind of about the future. We have to see how the next few weeks go. In the meantime, we're still cooking. We're still drinking vino. We're playing with our pups and going for long walks. But today we're going to be preparing. It's a dish that we got a lot of really positive feedback from people who were kind of excited to see what we were doing. So it's Pollo, alla Cacciatora. And then we are preparing it with a side dish of, it's called pepperoni alla signora Liliana, which is basically, it's kind of, è una ricetta originale di te.
Yes, I teacher me, this madam have the name Liliana, is the mother of my friend. And when is my son Jacopo and Filippo is little, finish the school and went together with the son of my friend Camilla and Niccolò, went often in the house of my friend.
And her name was her name Sylvia.
And the nonna,
the grandma.
the grandmother, is prepare this pepperoni. Mama is good. Please, signora Diana, teacher me is a pepperoni.
So basically, I don't know if you got that, but see when they. So
but I don't found in the recipe this recipe, and so I give the name.
Okay. So basically, when Jacopo, my husband and his brother were little, they used to go over to their friend's house, and the grandmother's name was Liliana, and she would prepare peppers in this way, which they're basically like caramelized peppers. But basically, so Laura, she teaches this dish actually quite often in the cooking classes. It's one of her, I'd say, one of the more popular side dishes that she does. And so she decided to call it after this woman. So they're pepperoni alla signora Liliana.
Liliana, yes.
But first, we're gonna start with the pollo alla Cacciatora. Usually, cook time for this dish is about 40-45 minutes, 40-45 minuti. So we've actually, Laura has cooked up kind of a smaller bit of chicken ahead of time, but she is going to show
Tiffany
you.
says hi.
Ciao Tiffany, ciao, and also I think Noelle, c'è anche Noelle.
Oh, ciao Noelle.
And Tiffany is in Brooklyn. But Laura's going to show you all of the steps for the chicken. Just a really quick thing about the name, so Pollo alla Cacciatora, because it does translate to hunter's chicken. Ma è un piatto So there's lots of stories about where it originates, but there's many who think it comes from Tuscany.
It's the peasant plate.
Peasant dish.
Yes, and I think is called is the a cacciatora because they used many herbs of found in around, and they use also the hunter, and also is many herbs is the selvaggina hair. Come si dice selvaggina?
I don't know, Jacopo, what is this?
Selvaggina, like the, just, I don't know.
Is it the hair?
No, selvaggina are the wild animals.
Oh, wild animals, okay.
Wild, yes,
okay.
the wild is eat
These types of...
There is Chris Peel.
Hello, Mr. Peel.
Ciao, Mr. Peel. How are you?
So it's Cacciatora because actually there's Pollo.
He is no, he's a eat. Is the Pollo alla Cacciatora.
You have lower as Pollo alla Cacciatora. But it's basically so alla Cacciatora. It's also because I did some research. It's also a way that hunters kind of prepared these dishes with.
Yes, it's very easy because there's rosemary, garlic, the leaves, the herbs is found here is natural. And but there are this recipe I think is used in the south Tuscany, in Marche and Umbria. But I think it's found in many other parts, also in the North Italy, because it's like, and so every person is make for self. And the typical recipe is use these herbs in the pan, generally rosemary, cloves, garlic,
Katie says hi.
And the oil, and cook the chicken. When the chicken is roasted, put is 1 glass, 2 glass, depends how much of but for 1 chicken used 1 glass, 1 cup for the American of wine, red wine, and evaporate this. Is a general use the paste tomatoes, mix the salt in the water, the traditional, in the water, and put cover is the chicken, and so after is cooked inside. Yes, I don't like change because I don't like the. All recipe I found, do you remember? I change always. Begin is Laura.
She always likes to go and kind of add her little personal
my
touch
way.
to a dish.
Yes, and I prefer put olives. The olives because it's put also before. Not this type of the olives, but the olives, dry olives of make the oil and. No cook, but begin dry with the salt because I put under the salt.
Ah, okay. So
I don't use this because for me much bitter.
Okay, so these types of olives are a little too bitter. So
yes.
She uses black olives.
Yes, this black olives no. These black olives have another procediment. I buy another procediment and. Is stay in the water with the salt, and so is before is boiled with the water and salt many times, and so go away is the bitter, and also this is the olive for table, no for make the oil.
Olive oil, okay, see. So
and so it's different, and they have is the seed is more little.
Okay. So they're seasoning. So so like the olives that you would use to go and like that you would press and produce olive oil, they're not the type of olives that you would use or that she uses for this dish. So the ones she's had, they've been They're just like the simple ones you can get like in a can or
In the can,
but
yes.
that have actually been kind of soaked with water and a little
It's
bit
a
of
sort
salt.
of water, and advise you wash always
wash
with this water, because sometimes it's very salty.
So basically, you don't want to have the olives be too bitter, so that's why she uses these ones. But I think first, what Laura is going to do, she's going to actually show you, because the chicken needs to be what you call jointed, because you should get like a whole chicken, or if you can find, I mean, she does it with roosters sometimes. You can ask your butcher to joint it for you, but if you don't want to do that and you want to give it a go yourself, she's going to show you kind of how to take care of that.
So, is the chicken, for the first time, sincerely I use the chicken, I cut the piece, because for make this antel chicken, non use all chicken, use the intero.
Okay, a whole chicken.
Whole chicken. But it's a piece of the chicken.
So you have to, you have to.
So I cut the chicken, but after when I arrive to eat, the part behind, no eat nobody. And so take many place in the pan, and after going, because I don't give for my dog,
I don't really understand.
You explain.
But this chicken though, you have to like, do you chop it or do you?
No, this chicken we chop the leg. This is the half. The other is inside there.
This is
chicken.
One half of the chicken.
This is avancoscia. This part. So,
I feel like we're having a Julia Child moment with the chicken.
This is the breast.
Okay, so this is she's putting the whole kind
I
of
have another branch, and here the wing.
Okay, but did you chop them?
Yes, I chop, and the other part. Sometimes I use it for make the bouillon.
Okay, because usually you just want to have like the breast.
Yes, half breast. Is it on top, the thigh, leg, and wing.
Okay.
Wing. So, for the first, this is the leg.
Susan from Canada says hi.
Ciao, Susan. Ciao.
Ciao. I cut this part of the leg, because so is it take more flavor and cook before.
Interesting. Okay, so she puts like a little bit of a cut into the leg of the chicken, so it'll actually absorb more of the flavor of the sauce. And you want to have the skin on the bird. So.
Another. So here I mix with the I use bay leaves, rosemary, thymes. Today I put also 2 leaves of
we have fresh sage,
sage
around the estate, so she decided to go
and
sage.
Garlic.
Masala 1 clove, yes?
Yes, 1 clove. I take out the peel, open the half, and take out is a new garlic.
Okay, so basically with the garlic clove, and she's done this in other recipes, you always want to make sure to take out kind of like, sometimes there can be a little bit of a green center. That's going to be a little bit bitter and really strong, so she usually removes that. So she's taken like the 1 garlic clove, she chopped up all of the herbs. So the recipe, which was on the Facebook post and also in our email blast, kind of gave the quantities that you want. But you basically chop those up, and that's kind of what she has there. So she has a nice little herb mixture.
Together, I put is a juniper berry.
Okay, so she used juniper berries in here.
Yes, juniper berry is good. I put because I make much of this, and I put is 4, 5.
And that's for like a per uno
berry. Okay.
Per uno
pollo.
Right, for 1 chicken. So.
If in the summer, if you have the fresh herbs, you can mix it all together. After put the salt and pepper, thin salt, not bigger salt.
Okay, sis, yep.
And take in the tray, in un vassoio, and so go away completely. It's dry.
To dry it, so you can also, like, if there's too much moisture in the herb mixture, you can also and she's saying for this perhaps like during the summertime, you can lay it flat out onto a tray to basically go and dry out the herbs.
Do you see?
So she has some dry herbs.
Judy from California says hi.
Oh, hello!
It's different, but what is huge possible.
Oh wow! See, so that obviously, I mean, has a very
remain is very good smell.
That's a great. No, I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's a lot stronger after she's kind of aged.
The remain and it's better of the herbs if by dry.
Oh, okay, so it's better to have the dry herbs.
So here, because I just put the salt and pepper here, I don't put the salt.
Okay, so you for people who've watched in the past, Laura is always really restrained with her use of salt and pepper. Her whole theory is it's a lot easier to add salt and pepper at the end, as it is if you use a little too much pepper or salt at the beginning. It's a little harder to kind of make adjustments. So yeah. For one chicken, 3 tablespoons. Here, 1.5. Yeah, since we're halving it, we're doing it, with a little bit less of olive oil. By the way, if you don't mind, posso bere un bicchiere.
Certo.
You know, I'm gonna have a little glass of our Laura while we're cooking. I'll talk a little bit more about the wine later, but.
So, I put the herbs for this 1 tablespoon, and
you have to massage it.
yes.
Okay, so she's
massaging. If you prepare, for example, you cook in the afternoon, you prepare in the morning or the evening before, is perfect. Is more good.
To fai così prima?
Sì.
E lascia in frigo?
Sì.
All right, so
marinate.
Okay, so I mean, we're going to be cooking it immediately, but what she's saying is that if you're going to prepare, let's say, like the chicken for the evening, it's better if you want to go and put the olive oil, massage in the spices, and then actually put it in the refrigerator and let the chicken marinate a little bit more. That is actually, she recommends that. This is still going to be wonderful and tasty if you don't have time to do it.
Monica is watching from California.
Hello, Monica. La mia amica Monica in California.
Ciao.
Oh. Alright, so she's got... sono qua.
Okay.
Alright. Oh, scusami, faccio io.
Grazie.
Right. Alright.
Mandy and Kevin from UK.
Hello.
Ciao.
So Kevin and...
Mandy and Kevin.
Hello, Kevin. Thank you for tuning in.
Reed.
Thanks for joining.
Mandy Reed.
Okay. Sì.
This, you remember, is the chicken can they stay only flat.
Okay, so you want the chicken actually to be flat and
yes, no one on top of the other.
Okay, so you don't want to kind of pile the chicken up.
We
on
have
top
also
of each other,
Chris from Kauai.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
I'm a little bit jealous.
Yeah, my wishes where you are in you're in Hawaii, yes?
Yeah.
Whoa. Jacopo would like to trade places with you.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know if Jacopo, if you want to kind of come on over.
Yeah, sure.
For the first, you take the fire is high, okay?
All right, so basically first what she's going to do, so she has a high heat on the chicken.
And I use the half, questo è metà. Sì, half.
Hello, Colleen in Denver. Thanks for tuning in again. Colleen ha fatto a nudie. So Colleen, I know you made the nudie from our last live. So
is it okay?
I think so, Cece.
Do you like it?
Oh, Colleen, I don't know if you want to respond and let us know how the nudie turned out. Laura's curious. But
so and leave.
All right, so you put a half a glass of wine.
Before, then roasted from every part.
Okay, so you have to roast it first.
Yes.
Okay.
And so now we go, is prepared to cut, is the pepperoni.
Okay.
Fantastico, she said.
Okay, so Colleen say è venuto fantastico.
Bene, he's very, very happy.
So, all right, so while the chicken is actually getting browned, we're going to start chopping the peppers, just because it makes a lot more sense kind of with the cook time. Also because peppers, this is something, I mean, I've been cooking with peppers a lot more frequently as of recently, and peppers can take quite a while to cook properly. So the caramelized peppers, you'll actually need about 20 to 30 minutes of cook time to actually get them perfectly caramelized. So we're going to do a little chop, and what you say is taken off the top.
Yes, the type on the top. Yes.
Facciamo due o solo una?
Preferisci spostare anche solo uno because I had just...
We're only gonna do one. Because you have a lot.
So, it's good is a take. Red is the best. Or yellow. If you
Colleen, she said that she needed to use dry ricotta, I think, I suppose for...
Okay,
Yeah.
so Colleen, quando lei ha fatto i gnudi, senza la ricotta c'era tanto acqua.
Tanta acqua.
Even though
So, when you use this fresh ricotta, it's better if you drain it. But you drain it.
with you have to strain
Is
the
many.
water out.
Is it here? Is it the thing?
The tiny little holes.
So they sell too wet, she said.
Ok, lei ha detto loro vendono.
Sì, è molto...
molto liquido, perché lei ha provato di...
Because it is more fresh. When is the liquid is fresh. No, lascia.
This is my terrible American thing. I want to touch everything while it's cooking.
You remember, but if you take out the water and put it inside here, and if you see it's very, you put another egg.
Oh, okay.
No, the white egg, but the yolk.
Oh, okay, so she's saying next time if that happens, you can also add an extra egg yolk, just the yolk. Oh, okay.
When I make is the come si chiama, la ricotta alla Caterina dei Medici is the dessert. When I arrive and I take always very, very fresh, have much water. When I go, I tell, please,
Strain,
not much
strain,
water,
yeah.
because it don't eat and pay.
When you have fresh ricotta, you can, yeah.
But sometimes it's very, very, very wet because it's put in the basket, and in this basket there is just the drainer. But if it remain inside because the general is take out the part, okay, and so is the water is gone. But because sincerely I don't know is arrive have fresh, very fresh.
They might
If it remain in the water, remain more fresh.
Ah, okay.
Si mantiene di più.
Okay. But these are the peppers, so.
Allora, so I take out this part.
So two candy.
I use also this.
So she uses even just cuts around the top, so that she's not actually wasting as much. And she was saying, so you want to use red or yellow peppers, and the reason is because they have a little bit of sweetness to them. Ma pepperoni verdi sono troppo.
Pepperoni verdi
Green peppers.
in Italy is bitter.
They're bitter. So the green peppers that we get in Italy, they're a little bit bitter. They don't have a sweetness to them.
In America is it told me is it use also is it not pepper. Is it use also is the pepper.
Orange.
Orange.
Orange, you can also find.
Here no. When I am little, is orange. I remember.
She used to be able to find orange.
But
orange
now,
peppers, but
I don't find.
So yeah, so she uses the red or yellow.
Lo vuoi tagliare anche te?
Sì, sì, sì.
This part is necessary, not only seed, but the white part take out.
Okay, so you want to take out completely the white
Because there is
part.
acid and the after is a digest.
Okay, so it's two. So you want to take out all of the white part, not just the seeds, because she's saying they're pretty acidic. And not gonna.
Nick and Jane from Plymouth in UK.
Oh, okay. Hello, Nick and Jane. My devil. Okay, so now it looks like, so basically the chicken has actually been kind of brown on one side, so she's flipping them over to brown on the other. I did not take.
Is it so? Okay.
Sorry, the other one.
You see?
I did not take a knife skills course, so I do not have the best knife skills on the planet. Ma devo tagliare a metà? Or
No. Longer.
Ma va bene così o devo tagliare più fine?
Un pochino più fine va bene.
I should cut them a little thinner. Ma va bene così?
In the summer we have the pepper is more little,
Okay.
and is more good.
Okay, so
This pepper is a very fresh and is good also this. Is the problem I have much water.
they have a lot of water. Okay. By the way, if anybody is sipping some wine, let us know, or have any questions along the way.
Jenny.
And Elliot, our little sous chef, is over there. He hasn't come over yet, but he'll make an appearance later probably. Okay. Peppers. I love caramelized peppers, especially come si dice, contorni preferiti.
So do you brown the skin side first or not?
Ma tu fai una parte prima, è più importante fare con le pelle prima o dopo?
No. Allora, so.
No, to cook it, per cuocere queste devi cominciare con una parte prima o una...
I put one part indifferent.
No, it doesn't make a difference if you're doing the skin side first or not.
This is ready. This is ready. This is less, can put more.
Okay.
Is this.
So,
One and this.
so the important thing is just to brown both sides appropriately. So. Allora,
See?
lo facciamo qua?
Sì.
Okay, so now we're going to do the peppers.
The peppers. Here I put normal pepper is the half of this. 1 tablespoon of oil per pepper.
Per pepper, okay.
Here I put the half.
1.5. Perché sono grandi?
Perché sono grandi.
Oh, okay, so she's using 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil because these peppers are definitely on the larger side.
Little pepper because after I put much sugar.
Oh, okay. So you just
Pepper.
put, un pochino di
Salt,
sale,
yes.
pepe. Alright, so she's just putting a little bit of salt and pepper, not too much, basically almost just like a pinch of both.
And the same.
Okay.
When I cook the vegetable, always
You get your hands on the
I
knife.
mix.
Okay, so she's basically
Because
kind of
it's
massaging the
better
veggies
for me.
as well, so.
It's okay?
See?
It's okay? Do you see?
So I don't know if you want to come on over, we're going to go back over to the stove.
Sorry, one moment.
Piper.
Perfetto.
Yeah. Yes. This is going to be our dinner this evening. We're having a nice little kind of quiet family dinner.
Now?
Hold on.
All right. I love that sound. So basically, so she went and she put the half a cup of wine in there. Here we're going to Pollo intero to metti una tazza.
Una tazza.
All right. So basically, if you have a whole chicken, you're going to use one full glass or 1 cup of red wine. And so basically, what she's going to do is let that actually evaporate. So that's what we're going to do for a little bit. And then I don't know if you want to come over just to look and kind of see what she's doing with the peppers.
Medium fire.
Okay, so she's putting it on a medium heat. Pollo.
Yes, and so take the wine.
Lenta. It's slow. I have to go by better here.
No, posso continuare.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry if we have a little bit of a slow internet connection, perhaps. So basically, what Laura's doing with the chicken, she is turning it a little bit in the pan while the red wine is evaporating, because you do want to get the wine to cover kind of all parts of the chicken. So it is kind of going to infuse it a little bit with the flavor. So that's kind of what she's doing right now. The peppers, she's just letting actually cook over a medium heat at the moment.
We have it.
Okay.
And so this in the summer I use is the cherry tomatoes, pacchino, and it's very very sweet and cut the half. This in the winter I use datterini.
Okay, so
dates, like little dates.
Little tomatoes.
Yes, tomatoes, and it's very good. It's sweet.
So so what she's saying, in the summertime she's using cherry tomatoes. Right now cherry tomatoes are not available. So she's using the little date tomatoes. She actually.
You can use in the summer. You can use the summer sun or Roma tomatoes. You cut in
smaller.
Depends, is bigger, but one Roma tomatoes so big, you cut the half, in the half, and after cut in the half.
Okay, so cut it into basically into 4 pieces.
Okay.
Oh, and she actually, because I've had pollo alla cacciatora, so my uncle used to prepare this dish. It was kind of one of his signature dishes, and I have to say it was really different from how Laura prepares it. Because it had a really thick, heavy tomato sauce in it. Where you're gonna notice Laura's, she actually doesn't use a lot of tomato. Like she said, she was giving it more so to just have almost like the aroma of the tomatoes, not to give it like really strong flavor.
Just is a beautiful color.
Oh yeah, see, so this is great. So basically, you can see kind of the
and then now I put and absorb the wine, evaporate the wine, and then now.
That's a great smell.
And then now I put the broth, bouillon. This is a chicken broth I make.
Okay, so this actually, so she's going to actually put a little bit of a homemade broth that she made. Ma è meglio uno brodo di carne?
Sì.
Okay, and so it's better to actually have like a meat-based broth as opposed to a vegetable broth, which obviously it's going to give it a different flavor. So she added in a little bit of broth here, and she's going to let that actually continue to evaporate as well. And then the peppers are the peppers are over the medium heat, and they're just continuing to cook.
Low fire.
Per cosa?
Okay,
so now she's taken the heat down on the chicken. So it's not that kind of like higher heat. So it's probably more of like a low to medium heat as it's cooking with the broth. Alright, and so she's going to put a little cover on the chicken for now. I meglio spiegare I vini ora or dopo?
Puoi spiegare anche adesso.
Okay. So basically, those things are cooking. I can talk a little bit about the wine. I was talking to Jacopo about what wine would pair the best with the Pollo alla Cacciatora. And he was saying actually, so the Laura. So the Laura is it's kind of like our entry-level Chianti Classico. So it's more of a medium-bodied style Chianti. And this is actually going to pair really nicely because, chicken, obviously it's a white meat. It doesn't have, particularly strong flavors. So having a more medium-bodied style wine is going to be better. You could obviously, honestly, you could have this with also the Say or perhaps the Pollo. If you're in the mood for a more fuller-bodied wine, because you do have the tomatoes. We're also going to add the black olives, which also kind of add a stronger flavor. So they should be able to hold up to kind of the more fuller-bodied wines. We just, we wanted to go with something that was a little easier going, a little more medium-bodied in style. I absolutely love the Laura 2018. I think it's a great vintage. It's a Chianti Classico that's really balanced. So you get the tannins, you have the acidity that you generally get from 100% Sangiovese based wines, which this wine is 100% Sangiovese. But they're just all really balanced out quite nicely. And I think, Sangiovese, a lot of people say it was almost kind of born for tomato-based dishes. So the fact that, you have the Pollo alla Cacciatora, it has the tomatoes in there. So our Laura, the acidity that you get from the Sangiovese is going to be able to hold up to kind of the acidity that we get from the tomatoes. So we're having the Laura. This wine, for those of you who are not familiar, we age it 12 months in oak. We never use new oak. It's always barrels that we've used at least once or twice before. Obviously, this wine is named after this lovely lady, Laura. And this was the first wine that Jacopo began producing in 1998. So we kind of consider this more of like a classic red of the estate. And I just love it. It's a really nice, easygoing, balanced Chianti Classico. I think it's the kind of wine that actually you could almost have a glass on its own, which isn't necessarily typical of Chianti Classico wines. And this wine, some of you might know the story, but it has a little kind of design or illustration here. This illustration, it was a little teacup plate that Jacopo
Susan, she's asking if she can get the wine in BC.
The wine
Canada.
in Canada.
Yeah. In British Columbia, I don't know if now I have to check.
Yeah, we will check.
I don't know if they have now, but maybe I have to check.
Okay, so we'll check on the wine if it's in BC, and I'll write back to your comments once we check. We do sell in some parts of Canada.
Even in British Columbia, but I'm not sure that they have right now. That I have to check.
Okay. So the Laura has the little illustration. It's a teacup plate that Jacopo's grandma painted in 1930. They thought it was a nice little nod to kind of something that's been part of the family and kind of traditional. So that's what's on the label. And questa annata mi piace tanto di Laura.
Sì, veramente buona, è very good.
So we've been enjoying the Laura 2018 quite a bit. Secondo me questo è perfetto per il Pollo.
Sì.
So we think the Laura is pretty perfect for the Pollo, ma secondo te anche il Say Pollo? Okay, so we also think, she was saying we can also do the Say and the Pollo. It's a pretty flexible dish, even though chicken, is a particular meat when it comes to pairing. But I think because you have the olives in there, you have the tomatoes, you have these aromatic herbs, so you could go with something a little more fuller bodied like our Pollo or our Say. But we got everything is kind of cooking over there, so I'm going to go and check. Come we va?
Well, bene.
Okay.
This is cooked.
Ma tu non hai aggiunto già il zucchero, metti dopo?
No.
Alright, so you're gonna notice
Can
that.
be is a little brown and just 1 part is cooked is the pepper.
Okay, so she hasn't added the sugar and she hasn't added the vinegar actually yet to the peppers. Sorry, we have Elliot, our little sous chef. He's here. So basically with the pepper she hasn't hasn't added any of those things in yet. She wants to kind of cook them through a little bit and let them brown a tad before she does that. So dobbiamo aspettare un pochino.
Sì.
Ok. Ma con il pollo devi fare così per quanti minuti?
Il pollo ancora 5 minuti.
Okay. So basically.
But now is slow.
Low heat still.
Low heat. Because the meat is cooked and must absorb is the wine and broth.
Okay. So basically, yeah. So you need the things to. I think Elliot's pumping our camera person's leg, unfortunately. So we apologize for the little moving of the camera. He's been doing that a lot lately. We have not gotten him his situation fixed yet. Alright, so you're gonna cook the chicken for another 5 minutes? 5 minuti?
Yes.
Okay, and so in the meantime, she's cut the tomatoes.
Are the tomatoes
Oop.
in yet? No, they're not.
No tomatoes, no nothing. It's just the chicken.
No, chicken and the stock.
And it's just the chicken, the red wine we put in thus far, and the broth. That's it.
Chicken, evaporate completely the broth, the wine, and so is the brown color. Okay, so this is typical color of the wine. Is this okay? And then now I put
Sorry, Elliot will not stop pumping Jacopo's leg. It's a little distracting. Oh, va bene.
I put the broth, I cover, slow fire.
Low fire.
See?
And that's it so far. But now she's gonna say, we've cut up the tomatoes. You're gonna notice like Laura doesn't use a lot, so for this amount, per questa quantità, quanti pomodori fai? Today. Alright, so she's actually only gonna put probably about like 3 baked tomatoes kind of cut up into this. Ma per un pollo intero quanti?
Per un pollo intero ce ne va un 5, 6.
Okay. So for like basically a whole chicken, if you're preparing this for the whole chicken, you probably want about 5 or 6 of these.
So this is a vegan. Is ready. Wait another moment.
Okay.
For put is the vinegar and sugar.
Okay. So you can see that actually it was starting to get a little kind of like brown and roasted, the peppers. So she's going to add the vinegar shortly. But yeah, you can see actually she's just going to kind of cut up the little date tomatoes, have them with the black olives. We still haven't added those yet because the broth and the wine is not fully evaporated.
I remember another thing. For for 3, I use 1/4 of cup of vinegar.
So for 3 pepperoni today.
3 pepperoni, sì.
Quanti? Un
terzo.
Un terzo. Okay, so she'll use about 1/3 of a cup of either red wine vinegar or white wine vinegar for 3 peppers.
This I use 1/4.
Okay, so she's using about 1/4 because she actually it's a larger.
Also is a larger. And the sugar is a normal 1 tablespoon, full tablespoon, same as this. Okay.
Per pepper or
per pepper, but
per
this
pepper.
Is a 2, and so I use 2 tablespoons.
Per uno usi 2.
Allora, is a normal for the pepper. Is so big.
Okay.
I use is the big tablespoon 1.
Okay.
This. For this,
2 times.
I use 2 tablespoons.
So basically, since these peppers are larger, she's going to use 2 tablespoons of sugar per pepper. If you have kind of like smaller peppers, that are roughly about like half the size, you're going to use less, so she would say about one tablespoon per pepper usually.
Now, begin is boiled.
Okay, so basically, non devi evaporare tutto. Alright, so basically, it's the broth, you don't want it to evaporate totally, you want it to bollire.
See?
So you want basically the broth actually to get up to a boil, and now she's added in the tomatoes and your black olives. Ma quanto ci vuole olive?
I put is 150 gram for one chicken. But I put always more because I like much.
Okay.
Many people don't like, and so you can put less.
So she puts 150.
And the olive I cut the half without the seed and cut the half.
So you want to have pitted olives, and she used 150 grams of black olives for a whole chicken. And as she said before, she adds a little bit extra because she really likes the black olives. I think it's almost kind of the same with the tomatoes. If you wanted to add a little bit more, if you want a little bit more of a stronger tomato flavor, you can obviously do that. But she doesn't like to add too many in there. But that's basically what she did. Per quanto tempo devi cuocere?
Questo penso per 5-10 minuti.
Solo? Okay. So basically for the chicken at this point, she's saying that it probably only needs to be cooked for another like 5 or 10 minutes.
I cut also the leg because it take more flavor and it's cooked before because the problem of the chicken is always here the leg remain always rosé and for me don't like.
Oh, okay. So basically this is a little trick that I didn't know about. But so she cuts the leg. She's saying one to go and add so it basically takes more of the flavor of the sauce, and then also so it cooks faster. Because she did one of the challenges when you're doing like a whole chicken or various pieces is that the leg, if you don't cut it, it sometimes can take a bit longer to cook in comparison to the other pieces of the chicken. So she does a little cut in there, and it helps actually cook it a little bit faster. E come va?
Bene?
Ma hai messo già l'aceto?
No.
Okay. But she still does not put the vinegar in yet?
This is ready.
Okay.
Is a cake, is a roasted little, you see? I put them.
Alright, she uses her butter. So she's putting her 2 tablespoons of sugar.
Do it. Very poco.
Okay.
And bring it on the
And then
fire.
she's going to put back on the heat. A cake temperature, is it medio or alto?
Medium.
Okay, so she put it on a medium heat, actually to go and cook and caramelize the peppers.
Is it necessary? I put a little bouillon.
Broth. Brodo. So she might
Brodo
actually...
or water.
okay, you can also, sometimes you might need to add just a little... Devi mettere acqua or dipende come...
No, a volte no.
Okay,
Not
so...
necessary.
Okay,
Not
so
always.
you don't always
If
have to
you
add
see
it.
it's very dry, is necessary 1 spoon of this,
Okay.
of water or bouillon.
Okay.
Or is the broth, vegetable broth, what you have.
Okay.
But sometimes not necessary.
Okay. So basically with the peppers, if they seem to be a little bit dry, you might want to add just a little bit of broth or perhaps a little bit of water, because you don't, as they're caramelizing, you don't want them to cook up too fast. You don't want them to actually get burned. So that's why she does that. So really, it depends on how much water your peppers actually kind of give off while they're cooking. But they're going to cook away for a bit. Ma per i peperoni quanto tempo ci vuole dopo?
Ora penso 10 minuti.
Okay, so with the peppers, basically, like once you've added the sugar and the balsam or the vinegar, you want to cook them for another probably about 10 minutes or so. So she's just kind of gonna let them cook there. E per pollo solo devi cuocere così.
Sì.
Okay. Ma in medio assaggiare
quelli
questi.
sono freddi, sono
Sì.
buoni lo stesso.
Okay.
Allora, this recipe is good also for appetizer.
Okay.
You take the toast bread,
Ah,
so
sì,
divide
sì, sì.
in diagonal, you toast it, and after with
Sì, come
this
che un
juice, crostino,
sì.
sì, crostino.
Ok, so what she's
It's very
saying,
good.
so devi essere caldo or poi...
It's very good, it's hot.
Okay, so basically what you can do with your caramelized peppers, because these are ones that she cooked before. It's a larger portion that we're going to have for dinner this evening. I mean, they're great on their own. She actually sometimes said you can also eat these cold if you want. Puoi mangiare anche freddo or
Sì,
anche
this is very good also cold.
Yeah. So, but what,
Or if you can, so the toast bread in Italy is difficult, cioè difficult here in Tuscany, but now, for example, is my butcher is butcher.
the bakery,
Bakery, I found, yes, this type of bread.
kind
This
of a brown
bread
or
with many seed is
like
dark.
like a multi-grain.
Yes. But not only multigrain, there is another type of seed.
Okay.
And they found when you eat.
Okay.
You toast it and put on top of it. It's fantastic.
Okay, so she's saying that this kind of like this more kind of like it's almost like this browner kind of like integral or multi-grain bread. You toast it up and you can put the peppers on top. And that's pretty amazing. I mean, tu fai anche, io ho visto qualche volta per gli ospiti hai fatto.
Sì.
So you can also do it with a piece of like toasted Tuscan bread, and put the peppers on top. In that case, you want the peppers to be on the warm side. Okay.
Possiamo fare anche preparare questi qui.
See?
You want
So where is the
dish?
Vedi?
You want a plate?
see? Alright, so these are actually, so you can see the peppers are kind of continuing to cook up. We're actually going to take them off the heat just for a little bit because we're going to heat up this. So we're going to taste kind of the finished peppers. Basically here, ci vuole altri 10. Yeah, at least you want another like 10 minutes for that. Because you want them to kind of get really soft. You want them to get sweet, kind of absorb that sugar, absorb the vinegar as well.
I put 1 tablespoon of bouillon.
Okay, so basically since she noticed that actually there wasn't a lot of liquid, she added a little bit of broth to the peppers. Vuoi mettere questo sul fuoco?
Sì.
Okay, so in the meantime we're going to actually put this back on the fire. E cuocere. E questa?
Siamo vicini.
Sì.
Ora controllo la coscia.
Ma possiamo assaggiare questa?
Sì, penso di sì.
Okay.
Controllo un momento la
Alright,
coscia.
so basically, Laura's going to go and check on the chicken. And I think we're going to maybe give that a little bit of a try. Can I have a pizza? Alright, give a little plate. And I don't know if anyone is cooking along or has any questions. Just please let us know. But you're going to notice it's actually, I mean, there's not a lot of ingredients in these dishes. I mean, like a lot of traditional, a lot of the recipes that Laura prepares. It's just, usually 5-6 ingredients, just really good quality kind of produce. And also, I mean, she got the chicken from the local butcher here. But they're really simple. It's just, I mean, these, though, they take a little bit of time, obviously, to cook. So as we said before, for the pollo or for the pollo alla cacciatora, you want 40 to 45 minutes. For the peppers, kind of from I think once you kind of put them on the heat, you want at least 20 to 30 minutes of cook time. But come vai il pollo? So she's just checking the bird.
Cosa vuoi? La coscia oppure
No, cosa
il petto di
dici?
pollo? Il petto?
Sì. we're gonna have a little taste of this. I'm gonna pour Laura a glass of wine so she can have a little bit. And we're just gonna have a little. And basically, what she was doing before, she's obviously checking and kind of did a little cut to make sure the chicken wasn't pink on the inside. And you'll notice actually with her, like Pollo alla Cacciatora, I mean, it's not a heavy, like big, thick sauce. It's actually really, I think it's really quite delicate. I love it because just like the flavors, I love black olives too, so. And I don't know if you want to talk about, this is kind of what this is obviously a little mini portion of what your chicken looks like. You can use actually any of the aromatic herbs if you want to use them as like a little bit of a garnish, but that's basically what the chicken kind of comes out looking like. And I'm going to grab also. Ho preso questa. This little. I'm going to get a little bit of the olive, the tomato.
Attention is no burn.
No. That's good. I love that. Yeah. But I love it because I have to say, like the Pollo alla Cacciatora that my uncle made, which I loved. It was really tomatoey, so it wasn't, I don't know, it just felt a lot, un po' più pesante, un po' più...
Sì, più pesante.
So this one is just, it's a more delicate...
Do you think before is eat much bread?
Okay.
Here no use much bread. There is always the juice.
So you can take bread to
push.
kind of...
But before is very important to push because a little piece of chicken, but big bread.
Big bread. So it's small.
And
do you put the chicken over the peppers?
Ok. Probabilmente no, ma tu puoi mettere questo sopra I pepperoni? Or
no.
No.
I can eat in the same plate with the pepper.
Yeah, ma non sopra.
No, sopra i pepper, sopra this, no.
No, so basically you could serve them on the same plate, but you wouldn't want to put the chicken on top of the peppers, because you want to kind of keep the flavors, I sapori separati. You want to kind of have the flavors be separate, because they're also, I mean, obviously the caramelized peppers, you're kind of going for kind of that sweet and savory, and the Pollo alla Cacciatora has a different kind of a flavor profile. They go very well together, but you wouldn't necessarily want to put the chicken on top, served on top of the peppers. Ma che altri verdure va bene con il...
Oh, the spinach.
Okay, so she does, so she also does like sauteed spinach with the Pollo alla
roasted
Cacciatora.
potatoes.
Roasted potatoes, which...
No fry. Roasted potato.
Okay, so not fried.
Or roasted potato with the leaves or with the rosemary is good. And the spinach, and together we can use also zucchini.
Yeah.
Courgette.
Okay,
is made with the tomatoes.
Okay.
With the piece of tomatoes and mint. Aubergine is a
plants. But I really, I mean, mi piacciono le patate tanto.
Sì.
I eat like a ton of potatoes. And I think roasted potatoes with this, I think go really well. No, and she's just going to get a plate for the caramelized peppers. But yeah, I think the potatoes with this go really nicely. The spinach that she does, ma puoi fare anche spinaci con uvetta e pinoli?
Yes.
Okay, so Laura also does a spinach with pine nuts and raisins, and she says that could also be another kind of a vegetable side dish for the Pollo. Ma cosa dici di mashed potatoes or no?
No.
Okay, so she's saying mashed. She doesn't recommend mashed potatoes, and she doesn't recommend fried potatoes, but roasted potatoes, yes. And so now we're also going to give the caramelized peppers a taste. e medio con i peperoni.
Come?
Il primo è...
Come più lungo?
No, per cuocere. È sempre medio lasciare per più tempo.
Sì.
Okay. So it's better to kind of give the peppers a lot of time to cook. So I'm gonna...
Questi ora posso spengerli.
Sì. So I'm gonna give these a little try. And you can tell with the orange and the red peppers, you have that kind of little danno un po' più di dolcezza.
Sì.
So the yellow and the red peppers definitely give it a little bit more of kind of a sweeter taste to it. But it's really lovely. It's really simple. È semplice.
Semplicissimo. Semplice e veloce.
So it's very simple and kind of and I mean pretty quick, relatively speaking.
Yes.
Ma io penso siamo a posto con So that's kind of how you prepare the two dishes.
Se hanno qualche domanda.
See, so if you have questions, please if you post them basically to kind of this thread, we will get back to you within by end of day tomorrow. We will post this video on our Facebook page, and then we will also post the full recipe up on our website by Monday morning, so that will be up there. But if you're cooking along right now and you have questions that you need immediately answered, just send us a direct message and we'll get back immediately. And io ho fatto un po' di Laura per te.
Sì, grazie.
So Laura has a little bit of Laura. And just a quick thing, so for 2021 we're kind of working on some new projects. We're probably going to be launching sometime soon, and I know we've said this before, is live, or kind of private virtual cooking classes with Laura. We're going to start kind of doing a few more virtual wine tastings as an offering. We have, what else? We have some new barrels coming in this weekend, or this week, that we're pretty excited about. And we'll keep you guys informed about any new updates. Actually, we are going to be releasing the new vintage of our Livia, the 2019 shortly, so stay kind of up on that. Our large format wines, our magnums, are going to be kind of up on our website soon, which include also 3 liters, so very large bottles of wine. And that's it. That's all. Okay, I think we're finished. We're going to go and have a lovely dinner.
Yes, I hope. Can you repeat if you like?
Oh yeah, and also Laura loves if you make the dish and you want to kind of let us know how it turned out or share any pictures. We're very happy to kind of see how your creations came out. And we'll probably do another live within the next few weeks. And we are open to requests. Se qualcuno vuole qualcosa.
Yes.
So please, if you have any requests for a live, feel free to reach out to us. Va bene. Okay, we're going to cheers and we're going to eat. Salute. Happy New Year.
Ciao.
Buon anno. E buon weekend.
Okay.